Host of YouTube, I have a question for you guys. What were you guys doing back in October of 2018? You're probably eating Popeyes or swiping left on Tinder. This man over here, my guest today, won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship 1,039 days ago and has held it ever since. This is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He's defending it in the main event, NWA 73 on FITE TV, coming up this weekend. Nick Aldis, how are you?
What's up, muscle man? Good to see you again.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. It's been a long time.
It has. But to your point, even though it's been a long time, it somehow feels familiar because the last time we spoke, I was the world's heavyweight wrestling champion, and the time before that, I was the world's heavyweight wrestling champion, and the time after this, chances are I'll be the world's heavyweight wrestling champion.
I think there's a strong chance you'll probably continue that reign, but I want to go ahead and jump into it. I want to go ahead and jump into this because there was some big news that happened in NWA recently. They just announced that a certain Hall of Famer, a certain icon is coming back to NWA this weekend, and that has to be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. As the representative of the NWA, what's it like having Ric Flair come back to the National Wrestling Alliance?
Well, when you say icon, I mean we're not talking about an icon. We're talking about the icon. We're talking about the GOAT. At this point, I feel like it's, virtually without debate. And, for us, obviously, Rick was the ultimate get, right? Like the NWA over the last few years, the mission has been to sort of restore its prominence in the industry, restore the value of the brand, restore the legacy. And for me, the milestones of that, include things like All In and Crockett Cup and NWA 70 and the return of studio wrestling. But as important as all of those events are, it's the endorsement of the legends, the guys who paved the way, like Harley Race before he passed away, Dory Funk Jr., one of the greatest world champions of all time, and now arguably, the ultimate endorsement in the Nature Boy. So from a company standpoint, everybody is thrilled, and from a personal standpoint, it's very satisfying and great validation for me to think whatever happens, that I was at the helm, when the NWA was able to achieve these sort of major milestone accomplishments. So it's great validation for me, and I'm very, very proud. And now the pressure's on to deliver and to honor Rick and Harley and Dusty and all the other greats that sort of made the NWA what it is, in the best way possible, in one of the most historic wrestling venues in the world.
You guys can be at the Chase Ballroom. It's going to be electric. But also, talking about Ric Flair, I mean, there's a little rumors floating around that he might want to get back into a ring one day. So if he decides he wants to get back in the ring, even at the young age at 73, would you put that title on the line against Ric Flair?
I don't see that being on my agenda.
Okay.
In the near future. Rick is a timeless human being and one of a kind personality. I don't know if the world could handle more than one Ric Flair, but I'm just glad that he's healthy and he's going to be there. And I'm glad he's in a place where he feels that level of energy and excitement to say that he wants to get in there and mix it up. But Rick will be honored in a way that is befitting of his legacy and the NWA, and he will be making an appearance at NWA 73, but physicality will not be on the docket.
Well, fair enough. We tried at least. But I mean, he's going to be returning in front of a massive NWA crowd. It's going to be over 1,000 people at the Chase Ballroom. Just being back at this big venue for NWA, this is the first time a wrestling show has been held in this venue since 1983. So what does it mean for the NWA to return back to the Chase Ballroom?
Well, I sort of touched on it before. It's huge validation because I've spoken to a lot of different people in the industry who, when they found out that the show was happening at the Chase, reached out and said, "Man, do you know how difficult it is to get a show at the Chase? I mean, people have tried for years and years, and they wouldn't do it, and so it's very rewarding and flattering, obviously, and validating to know that they were willing to do it for this, you know, for something with this level of importance for the NWA, and obviously Billy's reputation plays into that, and obviously the work that I've done and everyone on this team has done to get it to this point where the Chase, you know, the Chase Park Plaza and the parent company Sinesta said, yeah, we're up for this, like, let's do it.
Of course. So, like, knowing that you guys are gonna be at the Chase, and like even looking back, the Crockett Cup 2019, that had a large crowd in front of it, and also before the COVID hit, obviously the Crockett 2020 was supposed to be in front of a large crowd. So will big NWA Supercars now be taking place in front of large crowds, or will it stay more at the studio after this show?
I think that I mean, obviously that's not a question for me, that's a question for Billy. It's his company, it's up to him. But I've always made the suggestion, and I'm of the belief that the television, the episodic television, and the power show should happen at the studio, and then the big events should happen in different venues. And obviously, when we're able to pull it off, you know, those are the ones to me that sort of stand out. And so, yeah, I hope that that's the model going forward, that TV happens in the studio and the big events happen on the road.
Of course. So before the NWA 70 or 73, there's going to be Empowerrr, the all-women show that's going to happen the day before NWA 73 on FITE TV. I think you might know one of the executive producers pretty well. How important is this show for the NWA brand?
I think it's very important in the sense that the NWA appeals to a certain audience. And we're very proud of that audience. We're proud of the fact that we resonate with lapsed fans and with folks who perhaps a lot of the current wrestling product maybe doesn't appeal to them in the same way. But that's not to say that we exclusively want to appeal to those people. And from a business standpoint, in my opinion, I think there's a market out there for more women, you know, for a more female audience. And common sense would suggest that if there were more female characters and more relatable female storylines and more situations, more dynamics that appeal to female sensibilities, then maybe we'll attract a female audience. And they don't have to necessarily watch all of the other stuff that we do. And conversely, not all of our regular fans, you know, need to watch Empowerrr. It's just a case of offering a different, you know, variety of stuff that appeals to different demographics and different audiences. I think sometimes the wrestling business gets so swept up in this sort of hyper opinionated kind of landscape that social media kind of dictates, and all the news sites and everything, where every single show or every single product that gets put out is immediately rated by people as if it was meant for them, you know. And it's like, I wish every now and then some people that would, especially the ones with influence, would just say, this show wasn't for me. You know, instead of saying, oh, it was terrible, it was this, it was that, you know, it's like, well, maybe it wasn't for you. You know, the same way that WWE gets criticized a lot for some of their product based on it being, you know, but based on the sort of nature of its storylines being perhaps not sophisticated enough. But it's like, well, it's aimed at kids. You know, some of it's aimed at kids. You know, and they just, the SummerSlam was a set like records for, it was the highest grossing SummerSlam of all time. You know, so it's like there is no correlation between the sort of critical acclaim that dominates the conversation in the bubble versus like the commercial success. So yeah, it's, for me, I kind of tread carefully when it comes to a lot of the sort of so sorry, excuse me, a lot of the sort of social political sort of messaging of the Empowerrr show and stuff. I'm just speaking to it from a commercial standpoint. Like I think there's a chance to appeal to a bigger female audience, and that puts more money in everyone's pocket. So let's try it.
Of course. So for any female wrestling fans that might be watching this, who are a few performers that are going to be on that show that they should definitely keep their eyes on?
On Empowerrr?
For Empowerrr, yes.
Empowerrr, well, I think that you're gonna there's a lot of new faces. You're gonna see obviously the sort of the cream of the crop of the NWA women, but there's also going to be never before seen matchups. We're going to see Deonna Purrazzo and Melina for the Impact title, and I have to give credit to Impact for how much they've how accommodating they've been and how willing they've been to sort of to work with the company on that front, and they've done a phenomenal job, and I think everyone's very excited about that match, and I'd say that match arguably feels like the co-main event now almost of this show. Camille's got a tough weekend ahead of her because she's got to defend the title 2 nights in a row, potentially, obviously if she can get through Empowerrr. But you're also going to see the women's invitational. The winner of that gets a title shot the next night at 73. Chelsea Green, I think, is going to look to show up and show out. You know, she's obviously she's a big name, and she's itching to really sort of prove herself and to show what she can do. You know, she was like many are, and through no fault of their own, disappointed with how things worked out or didn't, as the case may be, at WWE, and now she's ready to show everyone, just like Deonna has and many others have, and like Mickey will, that hey, it's your loss, you know, and they're cool with that, and I'm cool with that, and I'm here for it. Genocide, I think, has been on a tear. I think that she has a massive upside. She's got size, she's got charisma, she's got ability, and she's getting better and better every week, which is a scary thought for everybody in that locker room, because if her skills keep improving, like with that size, I mean, there's really only one person that physically matches up to her, and she's got the strap. So, and Lady Frost has impressed me a lot. I feel she's got like a cool look, pardon the pun. And she has really, I think, taken her platform at the NWA and really sort of made it mean something. And I think she's going to be another one who's going to use this platform to show everybody, like, hey, don't sleep on me. Like, I'm ready to step up and be a contender here. So, I mean, there's a ton of names. There's Miranda Gordy, obviously second generation. There's a couple of second generation girls actually who are going to be there, and the Free Babes. I mean, there's a real mixed bag, and there's a lot of talent, like Marsha Slamovich. Like, there's a lot of talent that are going to be at this show that I'm going to be seeing for the first time. So I'm kind of curious to just enjoy as a fan, you know, because obviously for me the real work begins on Sunday. But Saturday, you know, not to say that I'm gonna have an easy night on Saturday. I'm sure I'll be called upon for, you know, certain various responsibilities, but obviously Saturday night is my chance to kind of support Mickey and the girls and take it all in and enjoy it as a fan.
And then the day after is NWA 73. You're in the main event. You're defending the title against Trevor Murdoch. And it's someone that you've already defended the title against before. You've already beat them before. So why do you think that Trevor Murdoch won't be walking out of the main event as the champion?
Well, you just answered your own question for one thing, but he backed himself into a corner. Okay. There was no reason for me to give him another title shot, because we had one controversial ending that it may have been. I hold my hands up and accept that. So I said, okay. And we walked it back in Charlotte, North Carolina, another historic NWA town.
course.
And in that one, there was no debate. It was 1, 2, 3 in the middle. But on that night, he then threw out, I want one more chance in St. Louis, which obviously is his hometown, and obviously holds a great deal of significance to him because of his relationship with Harley Race. But he said, if I can't get the job done there, I retire. Now that's interesting to me, because when you've been champion for as long as I have, Malcolm, you know, you stop worrying about making friends and you start thinking about making history. And there's an opportunity there for me to make history on more than one occasion, because I'm already going to make history. I mean, the first NWA World Champion to walk out of the Chase in 37 years, more than that.
I mean, it's also fair that you've already been making history. You held the title for over 1,000 days. It's fairly fair.
Right. That's what I do, you know, and now I have the opportunity to have Trevor Murdoch's last match too. So, hey, okay, I'll take that bet. Let's do it.
Wow. Well, I know who's going to be retiring coming up this weekend, but let's talk about his title reign. It's over 1,000 days. Right now, as of recording, we're at 1,039 days. That's longer than Pedro Morales as the WWF champion and one of the longest reigning NWA champions of all time. What's next for the next 1,000 days as champion? Because what else is there to do once you've already held it for over 1,000 days?
Well, it's my responsibility to help to keep using that platform and using that responsibility to grow the company. Like what I look at now is what's happened on my watch. Right? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's just take this event alone. We landed 2 major sponsors, right? In Busch Light and Car Shield. You know, Flair's coming in. The show sold out. By the way, NWA 73 sold out before a card was even announced. So what does that tell you, Malcolm? They knew. They knew one guy that was going to be there.
The world champion, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jelly Bean.
Yes, sir.
That's it. So it's and now it's right. What's next? What's next for the company with Nick Aldis at the helm? You know, bigger deals, bigger broadcast partners, you know, bigger sponsorship opportunities, more partnerships in terms of live events and licensing and merchandising. This is it. Like this is your responsibility as world champion. And I hope that if Trevor Murdoch were by some hook or crook able to pull the sword out of the stone, I hope he realizes just what the hell he's gotten himself into, because the real work begins after you get the strap. That's what most people in this business don't understand. Everybody's happy to go on Twitter and go, I want a title shot, give me a title shot. I want to wrestle Nick Aldis, give it to me. And then all these people go on Twitter and you know, all his Pavlovian friends, they go, oh yeah, you should give it to this guy. Oh, this guy made a video, so that qualifies him to get a world title shot. Never mind the fact he's, you know, has he beat anyone? Has he proved himself? Has he paid his dues in the NWA? Has he worked himself through the ranks of the roster? No, he just made a nice video, you know. But anyway, do these people really understand what the responsibility of being world champion actually is? Because I'll tell you this is about the 12th media interview I've done in about 2 days.
Wow.
You know, and there's a hell of a lot more between now and Sunday.
Oof.
You know, some will be in person, and they're, you know, it's like everybody wants a piece of you. You're like a damn racehorse, right? And somehow, and somewhere in between all this, I still have to train, I still have to eat, I still have to prepare, I still have to study tape. So it's a 24/7, 365 responsibility to be world champion. So anybody who wants to take that mantle from me better be prepared to lace them up real tight.
We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze.